America.
Hi, my name is Madeline Timmons. I'm a sophomore at Stephen F. Austin, and I'm also a pre-nursing major. I'm here to tell you a little bit about malaria. I chose malaria as my disease project because I have traveled to Africa, and this summer I am returning to Africa on a medical mission trip. I'm actually traveling specifically to Uganda, which is the right elevation and temperature for mosquitoes to thrive. Basics of the malaria parasite is from the genus or the classification Plasmodium. It's a protozoan parasite, which is a single-celled organism. It does not have a cell wall, so it is neither gram-positive or gram-negative. Interesting enough, it is transmitted by the female Anopheles mosquito. Mosquitoes only bite you if they're pregnant because the blood nutrients is best for their offspring. All the other mosquitoes, so non-pregnant females and males, are vegetarian and eat only nectar from different fruits. This is a blood culture of someone who has malaria. Here are the parasites, and then the red circles are your red blood cells, which are the main targeted area by the parasites. I'm sure you're wondering how malaria is transmitted. It starts when a mosquito bites someone who has malaria. Then the plasmodium is sucked into the salivary glands of the mosquito, and then is transported into the intestines, which then the parasite infiltrates intestine cell and creates a cyst and starts reproducing until the cyst bursts. And then from there, the numerous multiplied parasites travel through the bloodstream back to the salivary glands, waiting for the next time the mosquito bites someone, and then the malaria parasite is then transmitted to the human. Here is a diagram of how this works. You have the uninfected mosquito bites someone who has malaria. So now the mosquito has malaria parasite. It bites someone who is healthy, and then they become sick with malaria. Now this is how humans contract the parasite from the mosquitoes. So the mosquitoes bite the human to suck their blood, and the plasmodium travels through the circulatory system or the bloodstream. And their first targeted area is the liver cells. They infiltrate the liver cells in the human just like they do with the intestine cells of the mosquito. They reproduce within the cells and create a cyst, and the cyst bursts, and then travels back through the bloodstream and targets the red blood cells, the erythrocytes. And the same cycle happens in the erythrocytes. They reproduce within the cells, burst, killing the red blood cells. When the red blood cells burst, that is when the first malaria symptoms start happening. And here is a diagram of how this person becomes infected. They're bit by an infected mosquito. It goes to the liver cells, bursts, travels to the red blood cells, bursts, and now it's in the whole body. So symptoms of malaria, interestingly enough, it takes 10 to 4 weeks for the symptoms to start showing after you've been bitten. They're having cases where it's taken actually up to 4 years to start showing symptoms. The sooner you recognize your symptoms and the sooner you get onto anti-malarial drugs, the sooner and better chance you have of recovering from malaria. The symptoms of malaria are very consistent with flu-like symptoms: diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, cramps, head cramps, headaches, diarrhea, fatigue, and chills. Because malaria targets the red blood cells, becoming anemic is likely to happen, which is when your red blood cell count is down. And then also because the parasite targets the liver cells, the liver decreases its function of excreting bilirubin, and then that produces jaundice in the body, which is the discoloration of the skin and eyes of a yellowish color. So when I head over to Uganda this summer, I'll be taking preventative measures. The first one says to avoid traveling to sub-Saharan countries, which is where 90% of death due to malaria happens. But I feel confident going to a sub-Saharan country because I am educated and I will take many preventative measures. We are advised not to go outside after dark. That is because that's when mosquitoes are most active during the night. When I am sleeping, when they are most active, I'll be covered in a mosquito net over my bed. We are also advised to wear long sleeves and pants to cover as much skin as possible, so there's a barrier between the mosquito and myself, and also apply bug spray after your sunscreen. Facts about malaria. There are 212 million cases of malaria in 2015, and then out of those, almost 500,000 deaths in 2015, according to World Health Organization. It can only be cured once the symptoms start showing with anti-malarial medicine, which targets the parasites in the liver before they start traveling to the bloodstream to start creating apoptosis in your red blood cells, the death and bursting of the red blood cells. Like I said, it's only carried by pregnant female mosquitoes because those are the only ones that are attracted to blood for the nourishment of their babies. The Center of Disease and Control Prevention was actually created due to the outbreak of malaria. And like I said, 90% of malaria-related deaths occur in sub-Saharan Africa. And malaria is not contagious. It can only happen if you are bitten by an infected malaria mosquito. It cannot be transmitted from person to person through bodily fluids or touching or anything like that. Do I have any questions?
Yeah, when you travel this summer, what precautions are you going to take besides not wearing longs or not going out at night and stuff? Do you take any medical precautions?
Definitely. There are different types of anti-malarial pills that are preventative. Some of them, you take them for different amounts of time depending on the ones you take. From my experience, I took ones that I started for 2 days while I was still in the States, and then I took every single day while I was in Uganda, and then when I got back into the States, I took it for 2 more weeks.
And you feel confident that with the medicine and following those measures, you'll be safe from malaria?
Definitely, I do. The only, when I went a few summers ago, the only people I saw infected with malaria were people who lived in Uganda and who did not have education measures and preventative measures as well as healthcare, who could not get themselves help. And that's why there is such a high rate of death due to malaria in sub-Saharan Africa, because they don't have access or the funds to get help with malaria. Thank you.
Thanks.